Hey, it's Camo with the Nashville Access Facebook show, brought to you by Solis North Gulch Apartments, where taste matters. We've got a really cool guest today. We try and do a lot of music and lifestyle stuff, and we're so lucky to have, I have to reach out of the frame and get the book. Rudrani Devi, I pronounced that right? Devi, okay. I'm just learning these things. She's written a book called Choosing Happiness. Rudrani, come on in here. We'll introduce you to everybody. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Have a seat. Choosing happiness, is it as simple as a choice?
Well, in my interesting point of view, yes. Sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do, but once you make the choice, in my experience, you dedicate yourself to it, you can actually create that for yourself.
Because a lot of people just think you just go through life and you have happy and you have not so happy, and it's not much of a choice. But
I agree. I had the same point of view earlier in life, although for me personally, I was kind of a half glass full person anyway.
yeah.
But what I did is I'm part of a movement called Access Consciousness, and in this book I'm using pragmatic tools to show how I got to a space of choosing happiness and living my best life now.
See, I'm not the glass half empty, half full thing. The half empty, you're a pessimist. If it's half full, you're an optimist, and I'm just somebody left a glass on the table.
Rock.
That's where I kind of fit into things.
I guess it's all perspective, isn't it? My glass now is overflowing. That's what these tools have done for me. I really have never been happier in my life.
How did you get to this? Because several years ago, you survived the Mumbai hotel bombing.
Right. The terrorist attack in 2008 was actually on Thanksgiving Day. And I thought myself to be a very positive, very happy person at that time. And I had these tools at that time, but I never really had to implement them. So with that experience, I just kind of journeyed myself through these tools to get to where I needed to be. And it's amazing. They're very simple, and you wouldn't think they would work, but you'd be really surprised at how quickly you turn your life around.
Was that a turning point for you?
It was, because I thought I already had the tools and I had it all made, and but here I found myself being told I would never walk again, losing my business. My marriage ended. The organization I was involved with for 23 years, I basically didn't see the same point of views that they did. And so for all purposes, if you're looking at just that, you would think, well, okay, so how happy are you now?
See, I don't want to say I survived. I missed the July 7th bombings on the tube in London.
Oh, wow.
I was supposed to be in London that day, and I would have been on the tube and the train that it happened, but I didn't go.
That's very interesting. So how did that change your life?
It didn't really.
Oh, it did.
I was just...
Thank you for your honesty.
Because I don't know whether it's I don't think of that stuff, or I'm too stupid to think of that stuff.
I certainly would have thought I would have stepped into a situation where I would have gotten shot 3 times and dragged out, and it's life can throw you some curveballs. So yeah, we don't expect it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more nowadays when you're watching the TV, and it's like a weekly event now.
If you're missing out on going to a place when that happens, and actually being in it when it happens, and playing an active role in that you took bullets, and
Yeah, I get your point. I don't know, it's very strange. Even when I was in the hospital, and the nurses, and they're all speaking Hindi, so I don't speak Hindi, but they were doing their best to communicate with me, and they basically said, once we had a translator, that I was their favorite patient because everyone else was so glum and all of that. So maybe I have a little bit of that already in me, but I feel as though, especially after rereading the book after writing it, which it basically wrote itself in a week.
Wow.
I basically went through my life and said, this is where the tools didn't work, and this is what I did differently. This is what I chose differently to make it work. But I realized I'd kind of been not necessarily faking it, but I was doing what I thought happiness was supposed to look like. And when you get to a space of being authentic about it and not caring what anybody else thinks and just being yourself, that's when happiness for me truly showed up.
Because there's a difference in following a dogma and doing it because that's what you're supposed to do,
Right.
and you think you're supposed
Right,
to do,
exactly.
and actually believing it and living it.
Mhm.
It's a huge difference. And you see that with religions and everything else. People following the dogma and not really paying attention to
Right.
what they actually think or feel.
Well, this book doesn't have anything to do with religion
No,
or
but
anything.
it's
But
still
yeah, but I
like
understand.
dogma.
I agree with you 100%. I think that's where we get limited,
Yeah.
quite frankly, because you're looking now at something you think you're supposed to be doing, and what your face is supposed to look like in the world, and how everyone is going to perceive you. And if I don't do it this way, then I'm not doing it the right way. But then why am I so unhappy and why am I so miserable because I'm doing everything right? You know.
When you say choosing happiness, does that mean that you have to be happy and always find the positive things in everything all the time?
No.
Or are you allowed to have, frankly, a crap day?
You can have, I can have a pissy pants morning,
Yeah.
and everybody does. And it's more about, okay, the difference really here is choosing awareness, in a sense. It's not about right or wrong or good or bad. Those are all just different points of view. You don't have to align and agree. You don't have to resist and react. It's a matter of, okay, does this work for me? What's my awareness telling me here? Is this something that could contribute if I move towards it? Or is it something that I don't align and agree with at all, and so why waste my time?
Right.
Not that it's wrong, it just doesn't work for me. And those are the choices that this book basically lays out for you.
I remember, it wasn't exactly a self-help book, but who was the author? It said, hope is the thing with feathers. And so Woody Allen wrote a book called Without Feathers.
I'm going to have to look that up. I've never even heard of it before.
I forget. It's a very famous author, and I'm sorry for forgetting. But I can remember
Google it later.
I could remember the Woody Allen quote.
Right.
That's kind of life is without feathers.
There's no manual. There's no
No.
roadmap. And that's another thing about the book. It's basically teaching you to just follow your awareness, follow the energy of it. When something gets you excited, your body, you feel it in your body.
Yeah.
When something makes your butt itch, you feel your body contracting.
Yeah.
And your body's pretty smart. It knows what would work for you and what wouldn't work for you.
Squeaky bum time is like a ball. Yeah, it's like.
I'm gonna use that. I like that.
I stole it. It's from Sir Alex Ferguson, who used to manage Manchester United football team.
Oh, wow.
Squeaky bum time.
There you go. Well, sometimes we have those moments of squeaky bum time.
Yeah.
And then we gotta do, okay, so what else is possible? How can I change this? How does it get me better than this? That's how you kind of climb the ring to your happiness meter, more or less.
Do you have friends though or people who say, "Oh, she's so happy. Can't she just shut that down?" Do you ever come across that?
Okay, when I was in a space of not accepting who I was fully and caring what other people thought, that came up a lot more often for me. And now, they would say things more like, well, what drugs are you on? How could you possibly be this happy?
Crack baby.
You're not a millionaire, you're not this, you're not that. And I'm like, okay, but I'm this. I'm who I am. I'm authentically myself, and I do what I want. When I say that, I mean as far as in the world, I'm not hurting anybody, and I'm enjoying my life. Can you say that? And then I got to the space of, well, that's not really a conversation they want to have. I'll just be the example of who I am. And if it bothers somebody, they're going to fall away, or I'm going to fall away because it's not going to be fun for me. And if it isn't fun, I'm done.
Yeah.
There's no point. Life is too short. I can testify that life is really too short.
Yeah, really.
Could have been gone from me almost 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
What got you to happiness?
I guess I should thank the terrorists.
Really? It's that one.
Well, it wasn't the defining moment. It was the beginning of looking at things differently. Because here I was already a holistic therapist. I was already doing all the work that I do. And yet I found myself having to use these tools because now I had to walk my talk. I had never met anybody. Well, I'll put it this way. I just recently was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. And I worked with a lot of clients that had it. I didn't think I had it. I thought, I have these tools. I don't have this condition. And then it showed up after I got to the space where my body was comfortable enough to actually bring all this up, right? So I had to look at it and go, oh, so this is what it looks like. This is what a panic attack is. And the beauty of it was, my body was freaking out, but I knew what it was. So I was like, okay, buddy, do whatever you gotta do. You know, flail or cry or whatever it is. Thank you for being in the space of allowing that to go. So I've been holding all this angst in, and I guess putting on a face, and didn't even realize I was doing it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us do that. And that led me to getting off of all medications. Not that it was a really big deal. I was on birth control and allergy meds and Advil. So I don't take any of that anymore. And it allowed all that stuff to, and that's where, I don't know if this is everybody.
You're not on allergy meds and you live in
I
Nashville?
know, isn't that amazing? I'm actually doing homeopathy, which I didn't want to do because I wanted the quick fix, because it's not a quick fix.
No.
It took 6-7 months for me to get to the place now where I can go outdoors, right?
I
You know,
never
a lot
had
of saline
allergies.
solution, and good for you.
I never had allergies until I
Oh,
moved here.
came here.
And
Yeah, I know.
8 years ago, yeah.
It's no
Allergies,
fun.
everything, all year round.
It's no fun. I know. And so I'm trying to remember your question exactly.
Yeah, it's how you got to happy.
Yeah, so not a defining moment, but the beginning of me re-examining my life and going, now wait a minute. I've been doing this because I thought that's what I was supposed to be doing. I enjoy my work, but the way that I am in the world is not authentic.
Mm-hmm.
I need to not give a flip. I'll
Yeah.
just put it in a kind way about what other people think. Because what if me being me is actually the gift I can give to the world? And I've been squandering it by being what I think I'm supposed to be. Just crazy. That's insanity.
Is that, because that strikes me as hard of thinking of myself as a gift.
I know.
And people I know would have a hard time thinking of me as a
I
gift.
agree with you.
Unless it's re-gifted, you know.
It's actually sounds like a very absurd, way of looking at life.
Yeah, because to me that sounds very, on its surface, sounds very narcissistic.
I guess it does, but wouldn't you rather be around someone who's being themselves than someone who's faking and being somebody they're not? That's all I'm talking about. If you can kind of, reframe what I'm saying, it's basically, what if you could just be you instead of being something you're not? And
So it's not a matter of getting up in the morning and saying, I am a gift to the world.
Absolutely not. My mantra in the morning is, okay, who or what am I today, and what glorious and grand adventure am I going to have? And I literally say that every morning. And then there's a mantra in Access. It's all my life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And it's not glory in any sense other than exuberance.
Right.
When your body feels exuberance, it's that vibration that's higher than being in a pissy pot.
I had a college teacher that always used to say he would get out of bed and that his first thing is, today is the day. And
It's every 10 seconds. It's living in every moment.
yeah, is that what you do? Is live in every moment now?
I do. And let me explain to you another way. It's like I know now that if I make a choice and it's not working for me, I can always change it. And I can change it in every 10 seconds. I don't have to be married to it. And that gives you a lot of freedom too.
Yeah, I guess it does. And I found with age, you get a lot more of that. That develops
I
kind
concur.
of naturally
Yeah.
the older you get. It's like, I don't have to stick with this. I can
Right.
do something else.
Right.
Or
This
think
isn't fun, I'm
differently.
done.
And it does give you a lot of freedom
Mm-hmm.
when you can think that way. But
True
this
story.
is to help people get there without getting older.
Well, it's interesting. This book came about because a 10-year anniversary was showing up. The
Yeah.
terrorist attacks. And I'd written 2 books before.
Yeah.
5-star on Amazon. And they were basically memoirs.
Mhm.
The first, Sole Survivor, about the events in India. And the second one was is For the Love of Running, which is about training for the Boston. When you have a shattered leg and everybody tells you you can't do it. Adidas
You want to
India,
prove them wrong.
hard life. Yeah, you tell me I can't do something and I'm
Okay,
gonna
the same way.
beat you up to show you that I can't, or beat myself up actually. Because it's not really about competition. It's like, wait a
Beating-
minute, I know I can do
It's
this.
beating yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I thought, what could be the contribution? I mean, people ask me how I get through it all the time. And I thought, why don't I just share these tools? But I'll do it in a way that, in a sense, throws myself under the bus, because I show examples of how it doesn't work and how it does work. And it's so pragmatic and so easy to read. I didn't want it to be intimidating. My first 2 books were really big. One's 400 pages. I was in a wheelchair when I wrote it.
Yeah.
And the second one's 300. This is a 90-minute read. It's an airplane read.
Yeah.
You know,
Or it's
130
it's
minutes. and-
right on the bus read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And And if it becomes too much, I mean, I've had people say, I have to read a chapter at a time, because wow, it's so easy, but I can't imagine applying these tools. But you'd be amazed. I mean, the first review that I got was from a woman that said, so I read this book, Choosing Happiness, and then I had lunch, and then I went back and reread the book. And she said, this is only the second time that I've ever read a book where I know it's already changed my life.
Wow.
So it's just, if nothing else, it's thought-provoking. It gives you some other choices. Doesn't mean you have to choose them. Just showing what worked for me over these 10 years. I mean, every time I get an interview, why are you so happy? How did it? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put it in a book.
Yeah. It's funny because I have never been a person that makes plans, ever. I've never planned a career. I've never done anything like that.
Same. You should read the first 2 chapters of that.
I will. But I look at people that are my age that I went to school with that had a plan, and they've executed that plan faithfully, and now
Are they
they're
happy people? Happy, shiny people?
yeah, I don't know. You see, that's the question. You know, they've gotten to the point where they've reached their goals, and now they're retiring, and they have the freedom to be happy, I guess. So
Interesting perspective that we decide once we retire we're happy. Why can't we be happy?
Well, that's it. Why can't you just choose to, whether it's through a book like that focuses you on being happy, but why not do what makes you happy all your life?
Good question.
Instead
I
of
certainly
having to
have.
wait 50 years to be able to do it.
I've had so many different careers. I'd be really happy in them until I wasn't, and then I'd move on to something else. I was actually in film production for years as well. I worked for Entertainment Tonight. I worked for different production companies that did music videos and long forms, and I loved it until I didn't. And then I went on and did other things. Went to National Institute of Health, got that career going.
Wow.
You know, now I teach not just here in the States, but I teach all over the world. There's so many different courses. Right Voice for You, the Foundation, Access Bars. And these are all classes that assist you into stepping in to your authenticity and sharing it with others. Not being in the space of this is just about me. It's like the kingdom of we instead of the kingdom of me. You know, how can I create and generate for this planet, which is suffering?
Do people are they skeptical when you approach them with these theories? Are they really?
Well, generally they're coming to me because they want to learn the theories.
Okay.
I've never had anybody come up and say, "Well, I read your book and it's
Yeah.
not true," or whatever. I mean, there are going to be people that are not going to want to change. I mean, I have friends that are bipolar and they have some legitimate reasons.
Yeah.
And then I look at myself and I say, yeah, I've got a pretty legitimate reason for not being happy. I mean, I almost lost my life, but I lost everything else, and then rebuilt it. Now, it was all a choice. I'm not saying you can just read the book and it's going to fix all your problems, but what I am suggesting is another way of looking at things and saying, hey, what if I were to choose differently? What would that look like? You know, how does it get any better than this? What else is possible now? Those are 2 mantras that go through my mind, whether things are great or not. You know, especially how does it get any better than this? Let's say, you know, you just found a bag of money. How does it get any better than that?
Yeah.
You stub your toe. How does it get any better than that? You want it to be better. You always want it to be better, you know? Instead of saying, well, it can't possibly get any better than that, and you've solidified yourself into this no-choice reality. Well, what if it could? Make sense?
Yeah, it does. But it's
But-
different.
Different way of thinking.
I'm always fascinated by people who have this attitude of choosing happiness over it. I don't know.
You can choose anger too.
Yeah,
Or
you
sadness,
can
or-
choose anything.
Right.
And I'm fascinated by people that consciously make a choice. Because for myself, I don't think about it. I guess I just do what
That makes sense.
makes me happy without really thinking about it. But there's nothing that guides me thinking this is the way to happiness.
Right. Well, you're kind of the exception to the rule, actually.
I've been
Because
told
most
that
people,
before.
no, because seriously, as a therapist, you know, I'll just validate
Yeah,
that for you. Most people are coming to me because they're not happy.
Yeah.
It's not going to be somebody like you that follows your own compass. You're following the energy without even knowing you're doing it. And that's what I did my whole life. It's just now I'm doing it consciously. Now I'm actually doing it with awareness and going, oh.
Does that make a difference?
It does, because now and I'll explain that, when I make a conscious choice, I kind of go with the energy again of light and heavy. So I'll say, okay, if I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? And then if I feel light, no brainer. I don't have to research it. I don't have to go online. I don't have to interview people. I'll just go in that direction. And if it starts to feel heavy, I'll go, okay, wait a minute. What if I choose this? And so I'm constantly doing it that way. Whereas I was doing it without knowing I was doing it before, but now I'm in a sense more certain that even if it doesn't work out the way I thought it would work out, that it's working out the way that it's supposed to work out because it's leading me to the next best logical step or whatever, pragmatic step. Or I'm very pragmatic. I'm not this woo-woo thing, that whole New Age movement. Please.
No, I think that's what
It's not my
scares
thing.
people when they see a title, Choosing Happiness, that it's going to be New Age and crystals and,
Right, no, I get it.
shaking a
I
stick.
think crystals are pretty.
at-
Don't you?
Yeah.
Those Swarovski crystals are really nice. I like
But
shiny things.
but
girl.
that's, I think people make, at least I do, I would make a judgment on that. Oh, it's going to be another self-help book, where it's.
Well, the challenge is read it and see
But-
how you feel about that.
But
may not be for you.
but talking to you, it's, and you said it, it's not that New Age.
Yeah, that stuff that's an excuse to me again.
Yeah.
That's a way to get out of, oh, well, I have these problems because in a past life this happened and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, excuse me.
Yeah.
If you're going to live in this 10 seconds, does any of that crap matter?
Yeah, this life is screwed up enough.
Right,
I don't
why do
worry
you
about
wanna-
past lives? Yeah.
Let me get attached to something that isn't even in this reality,
I'm looking forward to reading this book. People can get this.
It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Where is it on? Where else is it on? I don't remember.
Your website?
Oh, it's on my website. It's on my website, RudraniDevi.com. It looks like Devi, but it's pronounced Davy, like Davy Crockett.
I look like I made
And,
that mistake, and you so helpfully corrected me
I
at the
did.
beginning of the show. I love guests that correct me.
It's all good.
It is all
It
good.
doesn't even faze me. Promise.
What if you were to give the average person just one 10-second piece of advice about life? What would it be?
Don't make everything so significant.
That was 11 seconds.
I can't even do that right.
Yeah,
No, it's all good. But that's
Yeah.
the bottom line is we make so much significant that we base all of our belief systems and everything on it. We go down a rabbit hole with that one.
Yeah. Oh well.
My interesting point of view.
That must be the way my life is supposed to be because this sign appeared to me.
Right.
Yeah. Not so much.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But like I said, very pragmatic. You won't find any of that in there.
No. I'm really looking forward to reading this
Cool.
actually.
I appreciate that.
And I'm not just saying that because you're my guest. I'm really.
That makes me feel even better. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The book is called Choosing Happiness, an uncommon way to find joy in your life. And if you don't know anyone named Joy, you may get it out of this book.
All right.
Yeah,
You're awesome.
I'll take any joke I can get. Her name is Rudrani Devi. We'll put a link to this
That's great, thank you.
when we post the interview, so people can click to get to you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being on
Thank
the show
you.
today. We
I
love
appreciate
having
it. I had a
people
lot of fun with you.
and come back
Okay. I'd
when
love to.
when you've managed to write another book.
I've got the fourth one in the works already.
Come back.
I will be happy
Make sure
to.
you book her when that'll be
Thanks.
fun. Be good to have you back.
Appreciate that.
Not that I'm rushing you out now or anything, but
It's lunchtime. No, okay.
thanks for watching the Nashville Access Facebook show with Camo and my special guest Rudrani Devi. Her book is Choosing Happiness. Go get it. It's an inexpensive way to repair or correct your life.
There you go. Wow, no pressure. But it's just a choice. If you want to correct your life, correct your life. If you want some tools, good book for that.
Yeah, I've been called a tool, but it's an entirely different thing. Make sure you catch me on Chris Country every Sunday from midday following the Bobby Bones Show, and every Thursday morning with Jody Crosby and John Wolfe as part of the morning show on 88.9 Tamworth Radio. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.